housekeeping issues before we dive into all this information. Um, if you want to ask any questions, feel free to chat those in throughout the webinar. And of course, if you have any technical issues, you can chat those in. If you haven't already, you can get that chat box by clicking on the purple tab in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen and then click on the bubble icon. This recording is going to be this webinar is going to be recorded, and it will be available in a week on our archive trainings page, which I'll show you that later on in the webinar, so you'll know where to access it. And also, a certificate of attendance will be emailed to you within a few days of this webinar. So you won't get that immediately, but you will get that. You know, if you haven't received it by Monday, certainly go ahead and email me, and I will be happy to check on it for you. Okay. So what I'm going to start off with is just tell you a little bit about what we'll be discussing today. And first of all, I want to just go over some general information, basically what the Kentucky Department of Libraries and Archives does, what our mission is, who our customers are, what services we offer, because we do offer a wide variety of services to a number of different patron groups. And then I will be talking specifically about what the State Library does and the services that we offer to state employees. And then hopefully at the end we'll have some time for any questions that you may have. And that is a picture of our building at 300 Coffee Tree Road. We are up close to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial is right next door, and it's also the same road that the jail is on, and the KSP Trooper Academy. So, but if you've never been up here, particularly the Vietnam Veterans Memorial is a really nice area to visit. So definitely encourage you to come by and see us. So the Kentucky Department for Libraries and Archives is an agency within the Education and Labor Cabinet. We have recently merged. We were the Education and Workforce Development Cabinet, and then within the last year, we merged with the Labor Cabinet. Our mission is to support and promote access to library services and to ensure that documentation of government activities is created, preserved, and made available for public use. And so as part of that mission, some of our key functions include providing library resources and training to state government employees, maintaining estate archives, managing local and state government records, and promoting and supporting public library development throughout the state. KDLA has evolved many times over the years in terms of our structure, our mission, our services, and we have many different customer groups as a result of that history. For example, we not only provide services to state employees, but we also help support public library staff across the state by supplementing their collections with materials like large print books, which are quite pricey to purchase. Audiobooks, we also have book kits for book clubs. Those go out across the state to different public libraries. We also have programming kits for children's librarians, and we kind of spearhead, coordinate the summer reading program across the state. And then anyone who lives within Kentucky can get a library account and check out materials or use our computers on site, but most of the services that we offer to people outside our primary customer groups is limited. So my mother, who lives in Ashland, for example, she could get a card, but unless she can get here to check out books and return them and stuff of that nature, she wouldn't have access to any remote services like Kentucky Libraries Unbound or our research databases or anything of that nature. We really are kind of a specialized library. We're just here for public library staff and also state government employees. So just some organizational information. We are divided into the Division of Library Services, and then we have the Division of Archives and Records Management. And we are one of only about 6 states that has organized their library and archival services in that manner. On the library side, we have 2 branches. So we have customer and collections, and that includes the state library and also our sister library, which is the Talking Books Library. And KTBL provides free library service to people who can't read traditional print because they have a visual, physical, or reading disability of some kind. So they send out audio and braille materials to and from users using postage-free mail, and they also have materials that can be downloaded from the internet. And they have a special talking book player, which is provided on loan for individuals who may need that. KTBL has been in operation since about 1969, and they're part of a national network of libraries, which is administered by the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled, which is a branch of the Library of Congress. We also have the Library Development Branch, and they are the branch that helps public libraries across the state. They have grant money that is awarded on an annual basis. They provide continuing education for library staff, any kind of technology assistance. We help them to apply for E-rates, which helps them to be able to afford internet service for their customers. And we also provide consultation services. On the archive side, we have 4 branches. So the Archival Services branch provides access to all records held by the state archives. These are public records. They're generated by a government agency, and they include deed books, marriage records, will books, tax lists, circuit and appellate court case files, census and military records, and records from many different state agencies, including the governor's office. And unlike the Kentucky Historical Society, which has a lot of private materials like private papers, self-published genealogies, county histories, and things of that nature, we only have a very limited amount of that type of thing. We really don't have private papers. We have the official records of the governor's office, but everything that we have is government generated. Then we also have the State Records Branch, and they provide training and consultation for state agencies in deciding which records to keep, which ones can be destroyed in accordance with the requirements of Kentucky's State Archives and Records Act. And then we also have the Local Records Branch. They do the same thing for local government offices, like the county clerk offices. They also manage a grant program that provides money to help local government agencies with costs associated with preserving their records. When we had 2 of the big disasters in Kentucky recently, the floods in eastern Kentucky and the tornadoes in western Kentucky, that was the branch that sent people out to the local county clerk's offices and places of that nature who had records that may, have been damaged, and they, gave advice on how to preserve and how to repair some of those records. And we also have a lot of their records on microfilm here. It's kind of a safety measure in case things of that nature do happen. And then finally, we have an electronic records management branch in archives, and they provide advice and technical support, training, and guidance to state and local government agencies regarding archival and records management considerations for born digital records. And that's any records that have been created in the internet age, basically. We also, or that branch also works on digitizing print records to make them more accessible to folks. Okay, and so so that you can, we'll kind of start to dive in a little more to specifically what the State Library offers, so that you can get to that information on our website. Our website is kdla.ky.gov. We did recently have an upgrade in our website, so if you've been on it before, it's going to look a little different to you. And you see there at the top all of our different customer branches. So we have Talking Books, and then Archives and Reference, Records Management, State Employees, and Library Support. I would like to point out on the right-hand side there, we will always have the latest edition of our Collection Connection. That's a tongue twister. Collection Connection newsletter, and that is a newsletter that we put out that is designed to help us keep you informed of the services, resources, and any new materials that are available. It goes out quarterly. It's March, June, September, and December is when it will get into your inbox. And it is basically has, I try to do like a database spotlight on the different research databases that we do with each newsletter. Also, we have all the new and notable titles with particular highlights in the health and wellness topics, as well as workplace topics and the various things that are new in Kentucky, fiction and nonfiction specifically. And that is the newsletter. Okay, so if you haven't visited us before, this is a sculpture that's in our lobby, and it was unveiled in 1982. Our building goes back to about that time. And it was created by a sculptor and craftsman from Murray, Kentucky. It's supposed to be an abstract representation of the state, and it incorporates 28 native Kentucky woods. And interesting fact, there is a board from one of the original buildings at Fort Boonesborough. And interestingly enough, it has some buckshot was found in it when they were cleaning it up to create the sculpture. Awesome. We now have captioning. You see there in the chat box, if you need captioning, you can click on that stream text link. And there's also a statement there at the top, closed captions are available. Do you want to use them? If you would like to use closed captions, you can just click on yes there. Okay, so now I'm just going to list the various services that we offer to state employees, and then I will go on to describe them in detail. So we do, of course, have a physical collection of books. We do have CD audiobooks, and we have a small collection of DVDs. We also have a downloadable collection of ebooks, audiobooks, and video through Kentucky Libraries Unbound. We have electronic research databases, interlibrary loan service, and there's an Ask a Librarian feature on our website where you can email us questions. And then we also have a variety of training resources if you do any kind of training for your agency. So as far as the physical collection of books that we have is concerned, specifically we have what we call the Kentucky Collection. It's basically all things Kentucky. We do have a smattering of county histories. You will find a more complete collection of county histories over at the Kentucky Historical Society. But we do have county histories. We have biographies and autobiographies on famous Kentuckians. We have fiction from famous Kentuckians. You know, Silas House books, for example, and other types of books from Kentucky authors. And then just anything that is Kentucky related. It may be about geography of Kentucky, the culture of Kentucky, military history in Kentucky, just anything Kentucky. We also have a sizable collection of health and wellness topics. Our philosophy has always kind of been that we're here to support you in your needs as a state employee, and that includes health and wellness. Anything that makes a happier, healthier employee is something that we think is worthy of collecting books for. And so we have various health subjects. We also include books on personal finances, retirement planning, parenting issues, things of that nature. And then we also have workplace topics, and that includes books on different computer skills and software applications, customer service, human resources, management topics, communication skills, anything that would relate to the workplace, marketing for your agency if you do that. And then we have a collection of large print books. This is part of our circulating lending collection that we send out to public libraries. We will supplement their materials with up to 250 large print books because they're a very pricey item to buy, and smaller libraries may not have room in their budget for that. So we opened those up to state employees because we didn't have, at the time before Kentucky Libraries Unbound, I believe, we didn't have any fiction offerings other than what was in the Kentucky collection. So we decided to open that up. The large print books are all various genres. We have mystery, suspense, general fiction, Christian fiction, and let's see, I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything there. Just westerns. We have westerns. So anything that you, any genre that you can think of. We have romance as well. We have those in large print, and they are available for you to check out if you would like to. We also have audiobooks, and the audiobooks are again part of a circulating lending collections that we send to public libraries. They include the same thing, various genres, fiction and also nonfiction, and these are CD audiobooks. And then we have DVDs. These are specifically workplace topics. They don't include any movies or anything of that nature, but they are good for using with trainings. And some of them include safety, diversity, communication skills. A few of them are on supervisory skills, just various management and HR type of topics. Then we have an electronic collection, and this is by far the most heavily used, probably. So in order to be able to allow state employees to download ebooks and e-audiobooks, we are part of a consortium called Kentucky Libraries Unbound. And KLU is just a group of libraries throughout the state who have pulled their money together so that they can provide this type of digital material to patrons. So your public library may also have or participate in Kentucky Libraries Unbound. I know that Lexington, there are two largest library systems. I believe Lexington and Louisville Free Public do not. They are big enough to have their own contracts with the Overdrive Company, which runs Kentucky Libraries Unbound. But smaller, I believe Franklin County, Paul Sawyer Public Library participates in KLU. Certainly, other majority of county libraries do. And Kentucky Libraries Unbound, the difference between your state library KLU account and say if you have one at your public library, there are some small differences in collections. We may not have as many copies of the popular titles as a public library would, but we will have better access to workplace topics and those health and wellness topics and things of that nature. You may not be on as long of a waiting list for those. But basically, you will find the same offerings with your state library account as you do with your public library account. And hey, it just gives you that many more hold options and checkout options. So then we also have electronic research databases. So if you or anyone you know does research for your agency, this is a great place to go. And these include databases that have full text articles, as well as citations from thousands of newspaper, magazine, professional journal, and encyclopedia articles. Some of the databases we have access to are ones like Newsbank, and that lets you search newspaper articles from Kentucky around the world and around the world. We do have webinars throughout the year specifically on how best to use and search these databases. So you'll want to check for upcoming training events on our training events calendar, which is also on our website, and I'll show you that in a little bit. During the pandemic, we had cut back some on our training, but we are gearing up again to start offering these more regularly. So be on the lookout. I think we have maybe, I think there was one coming up in March. I don't believe that's about a research database, though. It is from our archives section, and it's going to be about various court records that are available. But at any rate, we are going to be doing those again soon. We've done one not too long ago on BioOne and JSTOR, and hope to get some more going here. Okay, so I'm just going to start to kind of walk you through our website now, because this is really the best way to access everything. We do a lot of work remotely because we work the same hours that you do. We are available by phone 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday. And then we are also available to visit, but you're probably working again the same hours that we are. We are not open in the evenings. We're not open on weekends and so on. So we can send stuff to your office, but I'll talk a little more about that here in a second. As I mentioned earlier, our website is kdla.ky.gov, and you'll note the menu bar again at the top there. You're going to want to click on state employees, and then you'll be taken to a page that has a side menu there that has all the different options for state employees. And you see that circled there in red. So you can search our catalog, you can get on our Ask a Librarian form, you can get access to the research databases page. That's where the training events calendar link lives, our archived webinars, and so on. Okay, and just to kind of show you our catalog, and our catalog is very unique, so that's one thing I want to kind of go over especially. We do have, again, another webinar that goes into all the ins and outs of our catalog because it is somewhat complicated. But at any rate, you can sign in there at the link on the top right-hand corner of the page. And when you sign in, that makes you able to place holds and to request interlibrary loan items if we don't own an item, and things of that nature. This is our sign-in page. You'll just put in your library account number and your password. If you ever need to reset your password or you've forgotten it, you can go to this link and just click on Set Reset Password. And then it'll take you to this page where you will put in your account number, request new password, and you'll get an email at your work email address on file that will show you what you need to do. Okay, so you see there on the right-hand side, circled in red, I have signed into my account, and you'll know you're signed in because it'll say hello and your name. And then if you click on that My Account, it will bring up that drop-down menu, and you can see how many items you have checked out, if there are any fees, and also you can And I am having a very hard time seeing that right now. Any requests that you have, yeah, any holds or anything of that nature. You can also request extensions for due dates and things of that nature through my account. One thing that you should know in terms of fees is that we don't charge overdues. We only charge if an item is lost or damaged. Then there may be a fee to replace the item, but we don't charge overdues, unlike a lot of public libraries. Okay. So when you're going to search something in our catalog, because it's kind of unique and can be confusing, and again, like I mentioned before, we do have a more in-depth webinar about it. But let's just say I wanted to Google stress management or search stress management. I'm going to type that in, and you see the suggestions show underneath, much as they do in a Google search. And then it will bring up your results, and at the top there it says there are 593,524 results worldwide, and that's something important to keep in mind, is that this catalog actually will bring up pretty much everything in the kitchen sink. You're not just searching for items in our collection, but it's also going to bring up items from libraries across the US and even across the world to some degree. And that's because we participate in a global library cooperative known as OCLC. And so you will get records that will pop up, and we can always try to get an item for you if we don't own it or we don't have access to it through our research databases. But you know, as far as just getting results from us, unless you filter for that, you're going to get everything. So you see on the left-hand side there, if you want to filter, you would go and uncheck Libraries Worldwide and check Kentucky Department for Libraries and Archives, and that will show you just what we have. Now, it brings up just about everything. It doesn't just bring up stuff from our physical collection. You're going to also see records for ebooks and e-audio books that we have in Kentucky Libraries Unbound. You're also going to see articles from our research databases. Not all of them are in there, but you may be able to find quite a few of them. It's probably, I would always recommend going into the research database and searching specifically in it because you're going to find more. But some of our articles that are in our research databases are linked in the catalog. And so you see here, our first item is the International Journal of Bioresource and Stress Management. It says that it is available. And that's just another example of, that's actually an article. If you click Access Journal there and see it says held by the Kentucky Department for Libraries and Archives, if you click that blue Access Journal button, it will actually bring up, you'll have to sign in again, I believe, but it actually does bring up that article from that journal. Okay, and so I have filtered my stress management search by format. So I don't want articles and all these other things. I just want books. So I have gone there on the left-hand side, and you'll see where it says format. You can also format by audiobook. If you do want to see articles, you can format just for articles and things of that nature. But I have formatted for books, and in order to see the item record, I'm going to click on the title. And you notice it also says there that it's available and held by Kentucky Department for Libraries and Archives. And then that's going to bring me to this item record. And you have several options on this page. To the far right, it gives you your access options. So since it is available, you can click on Send to My Office, and it will pop up on our pull a list, and we will just pull it and put it in a courier bag and ship it off to your office. You also have the option for sharing it, and then you have a description of the book on further down there. And if you do want to request it, once you click on that button to send to my office, it's going to bring up this page, and you just fill out that form. It's very easy. So again, we do have a much more in-depth webinar about the catalog, but moving on to other information. As far as checking out materials, you can come in person. Nothing is browsable. You do kind of have to have an idea of what you want. We'll go in the stacks and pull it for you. But we are open to the public. Our research room, if you're going to come there to do any research with court records or anything of that nature, they do encourage appointments. But you can just pop in if you're here to pick up a book or something of that nature. Again, we're at 300 Coffee Tree Road. If you do make an appointment, the appointment hours currently are 9 to 11:30 and 1 to 3:30 Monday through Friday. After March the 6th, that's going to change to 9 to 3:30 Monday through Thursday. You can also call us at that number, 564-8306, and then there's also a toll-free option. And we do answer the phones 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday. Books and audiobooks that are here, check out for 4 weeks. They can be renewed for 2 weeks if there's not a hold on them. And the DVDs that we have, check out for 7 days. And we really try to make it easy to get our materials. We do deliver them to your office. In Frankfort, we deliver them through the State Messenger Mail Service. If you've ever gotten anything through that, they have these yellow courier bags that we send them in. And outside Frankfort, we will send them by FedEx with free return postage. So all you have to do once you get it and you're ready to return it is get that return postage out, slap it on the box, and give it to the FedEx. We can also, if you are telecommuting 100% of the time, we can also send items to your home from FedEx. Okay, so on to our downloadable collection. If you go to that state employees menu and you go to one of the last options there on that left-hand side, collections, you'll see audiobooks and ebooks, and that'll take you to our page about how to download audiobooks and ebooks through Kentucky Libraries Unbound. One thing that I should mention is if you're some agencies have different policies. I think it's maybe a little more standardized now that because of COT, but just make sure you know the policies about downloading material to your state-owned work computer before you do any downloading of books. If it's something, I usually will do that if I am getting a book for work purposes. I might download it to my computer. Otherwise, I generally will just download it to my Kindle or my phone or what have you. And there is a hyperlink there that will take you directly to Kentucky Libraries Unbound, and this is their homepage. And you can sign in there on the right-hand side. There's also a help button there at the top, and that will take you to Overdrive's help page. They have all the information that you need to get started, and it's really simple. When you sign in, you'll be taken to this page, and it will have, some people have looked at it before and they're like, well, it just has public libraries on it. We are the only specialized library that's in the list. So you'll just scroll down alphabetically down to Kentucky Department for Libraries and Archives to sign in with your KDLA account. And that takes you to our authentication page. And then once you're signed into your account, you see there on the right-hand side, they have options for your loans. your holds. They do have a wish list available. I also do a KLU webinar. I just did one back, believe it was back in maybe December. And I try to do those every 6 months, so we will have another one coming up. KLU is very easy to use. Now, if you're on their website on a laptop, computer, or PC, just a few things I wanted to show you first. At the top there, where it has the little magnifying glass, is where you'll start your search. And I just searched the phrase communication skills, and these are search results that I got. You see at the left-hand side, there are filters. You can look for titles that are available for download now if you want something immediately. Or you can also filter for ebooks or just, e-audiobooks. Audiobooks actually check out more than the ebooks do when we look at our statistics. So audiobooks are very popular. And the last thing I wanted to show you, be sure to check out the top of the book cover. That will tell you whether the item is available or not. And then just below the cover, it also, you see where I have audiobooks circled in red there. It tells you whether it's an audiobook or an ebook. Then you have an option to place a hold or to borrow. And also under the cover, you'll see those 3 little dots, which is kind of the universal menu icon, and that will bring up a little menu that gives you an option to read a sample. You can look at the details of the book summary, that type of thing. And you can also request recommendations based on whether you would like to read something similar, and if it's not available, you can look for those. You also see there in red that where it says borrow, that's just what you would click on to borrow it. And when you borrow an item, you're going to get this pop-up box, and it's going to give you the due date and then how many more titles you can borrow. And then you can either read it in your browser, or you can download it as an EPUB book, or read it with your Kindle. And Overdrive has an app called Libby, and I have the direct link right there. And it is super easy to use. Libby is. You can just go to the App Store if you have Apple products, or if you have Android, go to Google Play, and it's super easy to use. They just take you through it step by step. This will allow you to read on like a tablet, your iPhone, any kind of smartphone, or a Kindle. Okay, so looking at our research databases, these are web-based access 24/7 to current information from reputable sources. If you are looking for professional journals, things of that nature, it gives you access to hundreds of those. They also have full-text newspaper articles, magazine articles, encyclopedia articles. And you can also set up email alerts if you are researching a particular topic of interest. It will send an alert whenever a new article is added to that database that's on that topic. So to access the research databases page, again, you just go to that left-hand side, click on research databases. And this is our research databases page. It shows you all the different databases that we subscribe to. So that first one there is Bio1. Bio1 focuses mostly on scholarly articles and journals in the biological, ecological, and environmental sciences. And we subscribe to this database to support the work of folks in the Environmental Energy and Environment Cabinet, and the Fish and Wildlife Agency. That's where I get a lot of interlibrary loan requests. We also subscribe to JSTOR. They have 12 million academic journal articles, books, and primary sources in about 75 academic disciplines. And almost all their journals are peer reviewed. And then on down there, you see the Newsbank icon. And if you want to search an article in a Kentucky newspaper, this is the place to go because it has almost all the Kentucky newspapers, as well as newspapers from around the world. The dates of the Kentucky newspapers go back to about 10 to 15 years. About 1998 is probably the earliest. And then generally before that time, you'll have to get out the microfilm and look through for older items. And if you're looking for the Louisville Courier-Journal, ProQuest has that. They also have the Cincinnati Enquirer and the Wall Street Journal. And they have many full-text scholarly journals and magazines, hundreds of newspapers. And then that middle icon, Kentucky Virtual Library, they're a consortium of over 350 Kentucky libraries and institutions that includes college and universities, public libraries, K-12 schools, hospital and Department of Defense libraries, and KDLA. They provide a number of research databases to these libraries all across Kentucky, as well as a courier service that facilitates resource sharing like interlibrary loan. And then there's the Kentucky Digital Library, which is part of KYVL, and it's a platform for shared digital archives in the Commonwealth. But KYVL has about 60 research databases that they subscribe to, that we have access to, and you have access to through us. It has multidisciplinary coverage, business, education, medicine, psychology. So that's a good one to start your research in. And then Data Axle, which was formerly known as Reference USA, is a directory of U.S. businesses and individuals enhanced with financial and organizational information. And then those last two icons, WorldCat Discovery is just our catalog. It's just another icon to get into our catalog. And the Homeland Security Digital Library is one that is just available for free. It's a federal library that has access to any type of Homeland Security type of topics. It might be of interest to anyone who would, say, be in criminal justice or something of that nature. Now, we're kind of winding down here. So one service that gets used a lot is interlibrary loans. So if we don't have an item that you want, we will try to borrow it from the library that does. A caveat is that the item must be work-related. So I can't get the latest James Patterson book or anything of that nature, but I can get any work-related topics or anything that we would collect in our health and wellness topics. So pretty much any nonfiction I will try to get. It could take 2 to 3 weeks to obtain the item if it's a physical book, depending on where it's coming from. And if it's a digital article, those are very easy to get. They might take at most a couple of days. Usually it's not much longer than that unless I'm having trouble finding a library that will lend it, and I keep having to put the request out to different libraries. But for articles, they will send me a PDF of it, and I will forward that on and email it to you. And that's how we get the various journal articles. And then we do not determine a due date for physical items. That is determined by the lending library. We can request an extension, but we don't, there's only so much we can actually do about the due date. In order to request an interlibrary loan, there's 2 ways you can do that. You can either, if it says it's at other libraries worldwide, as this item is, when you click on the title there, it says on the right-hand side, state employees request item through interlibrary loan. You'll just click on that and then fill out that form. And that will pop up in my interlibrary loan module, and I will always email you to let you know that your request has been submitted. So if you don't get a confirmation email from me, then you might want to just touch base. I'm the person pretty much traditionally who handles interlibrary loans. Sometimes we have other people who will step in and do that, but I handle most of it. And another way to ask for any type of articles is to just go to our Ask a Librarian form. Again, that's just that second option down on the state employees menu. And just fill out the information and give a citation with the author or the date it was published. As much information as you can give me is helpful. And you know, I mentioned the training events calendar earlier in the webinar. That's available there on that left-hand side. Be sure to just go there periodically. I usually will send out emails advertising any webinars that we have upcoming. But that is where you will find registration links and information about trainings that we're offering. We also have some training resources, technology resources. So if you're on that training events calendar and you scroll on down past the calendar, too far. Scroll on down past the calendar, you'll see technology training there at the bottom. You're just going to click here, and it will bring you to our page with different resources. They've been vetted by our continuing education folks, and we do have a YouTube channel that has various video tutorials on different types of Microsoft Office products and other types of computer skills that you can learn. My purpose, of course, is something that's accessible to all state employees. And then Learning Express is a database that's available through Kentucky Virtual Library, and there is information on how to access Learning Express, and it has all kinds of different neat things that you can use. There are computer and internet basics, Adobe Photoshop, Microsoft Office, various different kinds of computer software tutorials, as well as practice tests for things like the ACT, if you're going to graduate school, the GRE, the SAT. They have just other types of career resources and different ebooks on career topics. They have something that will help you walk through doing a resume. So there's just a lot of really interesting stuff in Learning Express. And as for our archived webinars, you are going to see a link there on that state employees menu, and just click on that, and then click on State Library Resources and Services under Filter by Category. And that will take you to a list of various webinars that we have provided. Many of them are about research databases. And also this one, which is being recorded and will be available on that page here within a week. And you see, for example, this is the last one that I did, Discovering Downloadable Titles, Kentucky Libraries Unbound. So if you're interested in that, you can just watch that at your leisure. So we have come to the end of the webinar, and we always put a shout out to the Institute of Museum and Library Services and thank them for their sponsorship of our webinars. I am going to put up a survey link here. In the chat box, and it is a short, very short 5-question survey, letting you give feedback on our webinars and things of that nature. We love your feedback, so definitely please fill out that survey, and that is important information for us, and also so that we can continue to get sponsorship through IMLS. Again, we are going to send out a certificate of attendance. You should be receiving that in the next few days. And thank you so much for attending. If you have any questions at all, I'm going to hang around here for the next 5 minutes. This is the contact information, and you can reach me at any time. There's my email address, my phone number, direct phone number. And you can also always go to that Ask a Librarian form if you have questions. We always try to get those answered within 24 hours, at least try to get back to you within 24 hours. So does anybody have any questions? Okay, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and mute now. But if you don't have any questions, you can go ahead and click out of the webinar. Thank you again so much for spending your afternoon here with me. Quality control on the journals. We do not do that. I mean, that is something that's handled through the database, so we don't really have any control over that. But they are supposed to be peer-reviewed journals, Brian. So that's just something that, we subscribe to a service, to a database, and the company handles that. Yeah. Well, I hope everybody has a great rest of the afternoon and a good weekend coming up. And I'm going to go ahead and mute. If you think of anything, just chat it in. I will be here for a little bit longer. Have a great day.